Hello. Happy Super Bowl Sunday. Have my Philadelphia Eagles gear on, even though last year was our year. Actually, the last few years of it, most recent. Not today, though. So I think I'm with Seattle. I put a whopping $10 down, I think. I just don't think they're beatable, but we'll find out. Anyway, I'm off to more presentations and videos here on Substack. Wanted to do a little intro. This is called, I think, I Would Do Anything. And it goes back to the 1980 season. It's the last video we'll do on 1980. And actually, I'll be talking to you about some other ideas I have to actually insert more thematic video and stories along the way so that those people that are 20 years old right now have no idea what 1980 was. And even those of us that are almost 70 years old have little memory of 1980. So I'm going to try to mix things up a little bit. But I did think it was important to go back through the years as we talk about the things that nobody ever really knew about, to talk about those ideas and those people and those situations that we had to deal with. So this one goes back to the night before the 1980 prelims when we were with the cadets. That was the same year, if you've been following, that we had I'll call it an airlift, 50, 60 people from Mississippi, Louisiana, who arrived in Garfield around June 7th of 1980, which was the same day of the first show for all the other drum corps up and down the East Coast. So that's how far behind we were when we started. Not to mention, we had a ton of high school kids with not a ton of experience. We were merging those with some of the people we had left from the year prior, but a lot of those guys had left. We only had 12 horn players uh, in March. So it was from percussion, color guard were not in the worst of shapes, but the horn line was just a disaster. So we went through that year. We struggled. We won one show. There's a story about that if you're interested. The Blimp House, which a gentleman, Dane Dufour, does a great job of summarizing the odd things that happen during a season that kind of join people together, a kind of a rallying point, I think. And we made our way through the season. And in the last couple shows, we actually were in the mix. When you get down to 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, it was pretty close back in those days. Cavaliers, Guardsmen, some of these corps are not here with us anymore. Crossmen were pretty much locked in eighth, if I remember. But Troopers, the Blue Stars, so there were quite a few of us. Uh, I knew that we were on extremely early on Saturday morning. The Friday prelims were already done. Back in those days, they let the members and the better corps go on Friday so they could rest up on Friday night. On Saturday, those of us who were associates, uh, 13 and below, we would go on Saturday morning, and I mean Saturday morning. We can't recall, but we think the cadets were on first or second, probably second. And so that was like 7 o'clock in the morning. Then we'd hang all day to see if we made it. And then we'd come back and do the finals, however many hours later. So as it turned out, we went on. We were pretty good. We had a good number, I think, 82 or 83 in prelims. And we waited. We left them there. I guess we didn't know what to do. We had rental drivers then. They were exhausted from getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So we just sat and waited and watched the show and hung out and had something to eat and walked around the stadium and all that. We waited until there were about two corps left, if I remember, and we finally knew we were in. So that was like at 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So we went on at 7:30. We waited all day. Finally found out we were in. The night prior, Friday night, I decided, as the story goes, I was going to do whatever it took. I didn't care what anyone wanted from me. I would do it. And I didn't talk to most anyone, if anyone, about it. But when I went to the hotel that night, which for the rest of my life I rarely showed up at the hotel, certainly not on the night of prelims or anything like that. Um, but I think once or twice if we were really, really close to the stadium for some reason. But for the most part, I kind of stayed away from all that as best I could, uh, at least until it was over. Um, but I went down there, and in my mind, I had enough suggestions, I guess I'll call it, or enough innuendo that, and some practical experience that tell you about in the story, that I might be asked to go outside my comfort zone a little bit. And I was like, I will do whatever. I mean, I, after all this work and the insanity of 1980, the last thing I was going to do was not have the finals. That was it. That was my goal for life at that very point in time. That was it. If I had to walk off a bridge the night after that, I was complete as long as we got the core in the finals. So that's what the story's about. So I hope you enjoy it. I'm not going to get into all that on here again. It would kind of be double jeopardy. But that's it. So take a look or take a listen, I should say, or take a read, I should say the third time. And again, I keep asking. I know all the percentages, but if you would find it within you to sign up as a subscriber, there's no money involved. You can just click the button that says no money. I'm not even taking any kind of fees at this point in time. But if you could do that, it's very of great assistance to me in terms of generating on this platform and getting more coverage and all the things that we need to make this thing more successful as time goes on. I do have every intention of following this thing through all the way out through 2018 and beyond. And like I said, I think we're going to shift things up. That's correct. I think we're going to shift things up a little bit, so that we can insert stories about, like, example, like instructors that left and or were left to go from the cadets. How did that happen? Why did that happen? I mean, most of the press releases we ever did were so generic, no one knew what happened. And then everyone would go, especially when we were then online, people would go online and project and complain, just like baseball. I mean, I follow all the Philadelphia teams, and I'm on sports radio, even though I'm out here in the middle of nowhere. And it's crazy, it's crazy the things that people make up. But if you don't tell them, they don't know. So that's kind of where we'll be headed, and I hope to do a lot more of that too as time goes on. All right. So that's it. It's Sunday. When I'm doing this, Super Bowl Sunday. It was 6 degrees when I got outside, when I got out up this morning in Harrisburg. It's supposed to be 40 by Wednesday or Thursday. That'll be very, very exciting. We haven't been over freezing for weeks and weeks. So I hope you're making do in your part of the country. Hopefully things are warming up all over the place. And that's about it. Thanks for your support. Thanks for reading. And if you could find it within you to do the subscribe thing, I would love you. Thanks so much. Take care. Maybe.